In R&B guitar, it's all about being smooth. And the voicings, the chords that you choose are really important. They play a huge role in that. So today I want to show you a few chord positions which are really important in this style and may really enhance the way you play your chord progressions. Let's get started from a typical major 7 chord that I'm sure that most of you already know. This is a C major 7 with the root on the A string. Okay. Now, a really cool way to spice this chord up and make it more interesting is simply by adding the 9th and getting a C major 9, for example. Okay, this is a chord that you guys may have seen me playing quite often on the channel in several lessons, in several chord progressions, and all we're doing here is adding the 9th, but also because we are removing the 5th, we're playing an omit 5. This has more of a jazzy color, okay, which is really smooth. And again, you can move it wherever you like. So if you want to move it to F major 9, you simply do this, okay? As long as you are aware of where the root note is, you can use it, okay? Now, I want to stay on the same chord, the C major 9, and actually show you a super cool inversion that you can play. Now, if you've never heard about inversions, it simply means that you place a different note other than the root in the bass. So for example, in a C major 9, the major 3rd degree is the note E, which we have here. So if we place that note in the bass instead of placing the C, you'll get a super cool chord position and voicing. But I want you to learn this new chord position actually starting from an E minor 7, which is a different type of chord, and moving the ring finger 1 fret across so that you get with your pinky the note C, and you get this. Now, this is not a fancy way of playing an E minor 7. This is really a C major 9 in first inversion over E. I love this chord. So when you use this, feel free to then move it here if you like it. Now, before we get into the next few chords that I want to show you in this lesson, guys, I want to introduce you to the sponsor for today's video, which is TrueFire. And TrueFire is where you can find the largest catalog of guitar courses online. The best guitar players on the planet that you can think of have a course or even more than a course on TrueFire. Pretty much all of my guitar inspirations, my guitar legends, my guitar heroes actually have a course on TrueFire, and I've learned a lot on TrueFire in the past, so I cannot recommend TrueFire enough. And if you want to check it out, using the promo code on screen, you'll get 30% off any course. Or if you are serious about improving on guitar this year and you want to learn from several instructors, all top level players, and you want to binge around different styles and different courses, you can get the all access plan where you can save even more money. And if you click the link in the description below, you'll get a discount for that as well. And on TrueFire, you can find courses of all levels, all styles, because they really pick the best players in the world for each single style you can think of, okay? So once more, if you click the link in the description below, you will support this channel and you will get a discount for any TrueFire course. Thanks TrueFire for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back into our lesson. Now, another chord that most of you may know is the A minor 7 chord with the root on the E string, okay? This is the way I like to play it, but you may have different fingerings for it. That's absolutely fine. Now, I want you to look at the top note, meaning the highest note that you play in this chord, which is the 5th of the chord. Like we said previously in the C major 7, C major 9, we can get rid of the 5th and we are not really missing out much in the chord. So what I want to do is moving that 5th down to the 4th, which takes the name of 11th when you extend the minor 7 chord, and get this beautiful A minor 7 extended to the 11th, therefore A minor 11. And again, this is one of those chords that, as long as you know that the root is here, you can move it anywhere you like. And just by playing a couple of those minor 11 voicings, you really get that smooth vibe. The thing that I love about these chords is the voicing, where you get the cluster between the minor 3rd and the perfect 4th or 11th. So this type of interval. Okay. So have fun with these two chords as well. Now the next position is also coming from a -7. I want to show you a -7 this time with the root on the A string, like for example a G -7 here. Okay. Now, instead of playing this bar chord, I want to extend this chord to the 9th, so getting a G minor 9. And I don't need any bar chord to do that. I can simply place my second finger on the root, then my first finger on the minor 3rd, this way, and then with 2 more fingers, I can do this flat 7 major 9th voicing, which on its own is so good. Yes, there is a chance to play the 5th if you don't want to play an omit 5 here, okay, which is equally super cool, and sometimes go for it. But I would suggest to start with 2 fingers this way in the fingering and just play a G -7 this way and then move it around like this. Just by playing a single note arpeggio on these chords, it sounds so cool to me. Now I want to show you the last chord for today, but I want to also remind you that you can find tabs for all of these chords with diagrams, music theory explanations, and more importantly, examples of how to use them in actual chord progressions in different keys on my Patreon page. So extra resources like tabs, music notation, and music theory analysis are always available for all of my lessons on the channel on my Patreon page. If you become a Patreon, you will support this channel, and by the way, I'm really close to reaching 100 patrons, which would be a huge milestone for the channel. So check out the other resources available there, and you may also learn how to use these chords if you like them in your chord progressions. So as I said, the last chord for today is a dominant 7th chord, and I want to start thinking around it as a classic D7 that most of you must have played, possibly playing a blues. Okay, it's just a C shape that I moved to D, so I'm playing a D7 this way. And now I want to move this chord somewhere else. I want to move it with the root on the E string, where you can possibly play this bar chord that to me doesn't sound really smooth. Yes, it's a dominant 7 chord, it's all good, but I want to change it a little bit. And I want to play it this way. Now, obviously even this is going to be an omit 5 chord, right? But the way we played the voicing here is super interesting because we are learning how to use a chord which is also a sus4, so it doesn't have the 3rd, which would be here, it has the 4th, okay? And it's also extended to the 9th because this note here, it's the 9th. So this is a D7, which when you extend to the 9th, it becomes a D9, effectively. But you're playing it sus4 because you don't play the major 3rd, and it sounds like this. Now if you compare this to using the chord this way, you know, you can immediately say, this is so cool. Plus, bonus tip, if you look at where you've got your 2nd and 1st finger, and you move only those 2 fingers, 1 fret back, you will get this super cool D7 flat 9. Still omit 5, but it is now a flat 9. You got your major 3rd, so it isn't a sus anymore. It has now the flat 9 to get an alteration. So instead of playing your boring classic D7, you first play a D9 sus4, then you move those 2 fingers, D7 flat 9, and then you can resolve somewhere. For example, on a G minor 9. But as I said, more combinations, more examples of how to use these positions are on my Patreon page. So if you're interested in using these chords, if you love these chords and you want to use them in your chord progressions, make sure to check out my Patreon page at the link in the description below.